Hey, everybody, I'm Tommy, and you were on the lifeboat. What's happening? Do me a favor, everybody. Smack that like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notification, and we'll get this puppy underway. Before we get going and talk about this case, there's something that I got to say because I'm absolutely fascinated by it. They announced today that there's a movie that is being made currently, and Val Kilmer will be one of the stars in the movie. If you're saying to yourself, hey, isn't Val Kilmer dead? Yes, he is. He's no longer with us. And AI is going to be able to put Val Kilmer in there without you knowing it's him. If that doesn't bum you out a little bit, then you're probably not watching a bunch of stuff on YouTube, because I watched famous, and I mean famous, people today talking about the Nancy Guthrie case who have nothing to do with this case. AI is grabbing reporters, people that you've seen in the past, people that you trust, and just creating AI videos out of them. So you think...
I'm so excited for the new Humphrey Bogart film.
Yeah, Johnny's holding out for a new Humphrey Bogart film. Who do we have here? We have Edith. Good to have you here from Cleveland, Ohio. See, she understands the game. Night Fever from Florida Panhandle. I love that. Hey, Kim, how are you? Glad that you're here. Nashville, Tennessee. Natalie is here. Lisa Palmer, what's happening? That is crazy, isn't it? Caroline in Canada, how are you? Hello, Joe. Ann. Hey, Cindy G. Deborah, how are you? There's my girl. I can pull out the picture of you with the tinfoil hat. Greetings, Tommy. Excited to see you. Thank you, B Rose. Hey, hit that subscribe button. There's a couple of hundred of you in here. Let's piss off YouTube. It's a lot of fun. I'm telling you, it's satisfying. Give it a try. Chicken Cherry Cola, Flinner, how are you? Hey, Carol from Philadelphia. Good to have you here. Chicken Cherry Cola. It's always an honor. Renee B from Dallas. Buffy, I'm glad that you're here. Lisa Palmer, good to have you here. And if you have not hit subscribe over at my wife's channel, you need to. You're going to thank me later. It's terrifying that they can pull that off, isn't it? It really is absolutely terrifying that they can pull off just showing us AI. White car allegedly being looked at on camera for 1:31 at 10 a.m. Yeah, that's what they're saying. That has been reported in a couple of places, including Nancy Grace. And if you've never watched Nancy Grace, I can bring you up to speed. She'll go, day 47. Sorry. The way she delivers stuff just absolutely blows me away. It really does. She's fun. She is. Brock Bandy, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for all that you do. Hey, Stephanie, I'm glad that you are here. Tracy Pratt, what's happening? Loretta Hauser, I'm glad you're here. There's 300 of you in the chat. Do me a favor and smack that like button and hit the subscribe and then the bell for notification when I go live. In theory, the crappy red button will tell you that I'm going live. They really won't, but it's worth doing just so that you know that they don't like me. AI movies, can I get on that? Stardom at last. That's the spirit, Gary. I could get better abs. My chest could puff up. Although, you know what? Right now, my abs couldn't get any better because I haven't eaten in this month. Actually, it only feels that way. But I'm closing in on the 1 week mark. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm not losing my temper at people. I can't back that up. I'm a little pissed off. Where you live is beautiful, by the way. Thank you. It really is. You know, the only thing it's missing? Huh? It's missing that beautiful girl with the tinfoil hat. When Reese is here, this place looks more beautiful. I'm sorry, but that is the truth. Another quick announcement. The Johnny Scoville just popped off his 500,000th comment. And tomorrow he's going to go live to tell everybody who it was. He wants to do a little, I'm a little angry. He wants to acknowledge the person that came in there at 500,000. He may say who the first one was too. I'm not sure. Bedford, Ohio in the house. Thank you, Natalie. So I told you guys a while back, I have a source. And I always feel really funny saying that, but I have been corresponding with someone that works in the Pima County Sheriff's Office, and he is so freaked out that I'm going to say his name. So we're going to call him Gil. And he actually came up with that. He said he doesn't know of anybody there named Gil. So we're going to call him Gil, retired law enforcement with over 30 years, specialty gang unit commander. My theory, without knowing evidence, in-house targeted kidnapping where force was used inside house, causing Nancy's demise. Sounds pretty solid to me, man. It really does. As of now, he targeted kidnapping with a capital non-body homicide. Perps disposed of all property, clothing, equipment, vehicles, body involved in the crime within 24 hours of the crime. Again, sounds incredibly logical. They're also saying now that, everyone was freaking out. I said, I think they're getting closer, and people said they're not getting any closer. They're talking to people at construction sites. They have no idea what's going on. I think that they are talking to people at construction sites because they believe that they may have used one of these empty homes as a staging area, as a place to get rolling before they started to do the kidnapping. This would be one of the reasons that they don't see a lot of people coming into this crime. If they were very close and had been waiting there, Now, it would be nice to think that they could have gotten to this a little earlier, because I would imagine that anything that they could catch from that staging area will probably be a little bit harder. Oh, look at that. Christy Collins shares the same birth date as my wife. Everybody I know that is cool was born in the first couple of weeks of July. I'm sorry. It's probably not nice. At least 2 perps involved, not professional kidnappers, but extensive criminal record, went back to daily life. Prior ransom notes not related. Just my thoughts. Tommy, you've been spot on. Thank you, CJ. I agree with 99.9% of what you just said, except for that part about me being spot on. No, I agree with a lot of that. Kathy Clarinet, good to have you here. Hey, Robin, what's up? So my source in the Pima County Sheriff's Office that I've been emailing back and forth with said to me that, no, I wish it was. I wish it was the union guy. He's fantastic, isn't he? And right now, there is a lot of people that are signing a petition. They almost joked about it in the beginning because of how many people would have to sign the petition to get rid of Sheriff Nanos. The issue now is that enough people are going to sign this to get rid of this fool. And a lot of people are weighing in on this. A lot of talking heads are weighing in, including Harvey Levin. And you know something, you guys, this is a gift from me to you, right? Watch the Harvey Levin show that he did today on TMZ. You can fast forward through all the BS in the beginning and get to when he talks about Nancy Guthrie. Freeze frame it at any point during the time that he's talking and think of Jeeves, right? Jeeves from the film Men in Black 2, right? He looks so much like Jeeves. He is morphing into that character, and I think that that is just awesome. I'm sorry. I love that. My source said this, that things have become organized in a wild way in this case. It has not been up to this point. Hey, Reno, Nevada. Lisa Kelly, good to see you. Hoda hosted a wellness retreat this last weekend in Arizona. Beyond poor taste. I agree with you. That's pretty nasty, man. That's actually pretty tasteless. It really is. That almost looks like you're talking to Snoopy. I'm a big Snoopy fan. I hope that's Snoopy. Just listen to Morgan Wright on Enton. He's calling it a no-body homicide. Originally started as a targeted abduction that went wrong. Jeez. Where have we heard that before? Nancy most likely gone and buried in a shallow grave. It would have to be shallow because they are hard to dig into the soil that they have in Arizona. It is remarkably hard to dig into the soil. Yeah, it's boilerplate. Do you think there's any chance that this is a Chilean theft group from South America? No friggin' chance on God's green earth. I have met these cats. A lot of them got busted and sent to prison. And I will tell you something. I don't know whether it was Megyn Kelly's show. It was somebody's show. And they were showing this type of group prowling at night. They ain't prowling. They're going to houses that they know 100% there's nobody inside of. These people don't break into houses that people are inside of. They are professional thieves. That is what they do. They don't want to run into somebody. They're not bringing weapons. If there's somebody home, if anything looks like there's somebody home, they run away to thieve another day. They are not people that break into houses that people are inside of. They are wildly, wildly successful. And the reason that they are is because they case the place. They also case the people. They go after people that they've seen over the course of 2 or 3 months that have 40 different watches, right? And people that collect high-end watches, this may sound crazy to a lot of people, but there are high-end watches that are $250,000 a piece. And there are collectors that have 150 of them. That's the kind of house you want to go into, right? These people target athletes. A lot of NFL guys get ripped off because NFL guys go out of town every single week and they watch to see if they have somebody that sits in that house, right? When they do not, that's when they will go there at night. But they usually break in during the day. If they're going at night, it's because there was no one in there. And they showed some people that were covering their faces. They didn't have balaclavas on. They had the wide open kind of balaclava that you see skiers wear sometime, where a lot of your face is actually exposed, where you can put on a pair of goggles without having a piece of cloth in the middle. If you've ever gone skiing, having any cloth between you and the goggles means that they fog up. It's a really horrible thing. So they showed them and they said, look at how similar these people look. Give me a break, man. Honestly, it almost seems stupid. But no, these people from South America are wildly successful because they don't make this kind of mistake. Well, thank you. I like to hear that. That everything Wright is saying, you've been saying since day one. It's funny how a lot of people now are sort of jumping on the bandwagon of things that just seem to make sense, right? Like and subscribe. You see this? It's free and it helps the channel keep free speech alive. And if you don't know what that means, if you just got here, I'm not going to police my speech. I don't say unalive. I don't say, any of those things. I say suicide. I say murder. I say gun. The day you hear me start calling it a pew-pew, I really hope you unsubscribe. Unfortunately, the family could have requested the FBI take charge at any time, and they didn't. Why? That's interesting, CJ, and I didn't know that was a possibility. I didn't realize that the victims could do that. Maybe they didn't know they could do that. But what I have been told is that since the FBI has started taking the reins, a couple of things have happened. One, he's not around nearly as often, right? Nanos is now spending a lot of time in his brand new Corvette C8. I don't care that he's got a Corvette. I don't care that he is going out and hanging out at the gym and working out. It means nothing to me. It's not a good look, though. And he's being followed now everywhere he goes, right? And this is not a good look for a guy that is already trying to get recalled by everybody in the city. And they're setting up places for individuals to sign off on. I have friends in Tucson that have said to me, I went out to a grocery store and there were people out front trying to get us to sign petitions to get rid of Nanos. And it is absolutely a possibility now. Hello, Punisher. Good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Yeah, he has an $850,000 home, brand new vet. Well, here's the deal. You could have an $850,000 home that you put $150,000 down on, right? You got a big mortgage payment. Don't know what the rest of his family does. I know a lot of people talk about this as if this is kind of proof that he's on the take. I wouldn't be surprised. You like the shirt, Roulette Master? This is a tribute to someone that I love more than life on earth. I won't say who it is, but everyone has rough times in the beginning, and what doesn't kill you sometimes texts you 6 months later and makes your life perfect. And then somebody bought me this shirt, and I thought it was the funniest friggin' thing I've ever seen. So I do like wearing it. Sadly, Nancy was a target because she's a senior, and it's so sad. I think Nancy was a target because her daughter's filthy friggin' rich, right? That's what I think Nancy was a target for. Yes, I didn't say that. Someone else did, and I just happen to really love the shirt. 200 thumbs up out of 544. You guys can do better than that. For the love of God, I don't sleep or eat. It's the least you could do. Brad, why did Chief Nanos refuse all the professional inserts? Yeah, this is something that I don't know that anybody can answer. Why did he not allow people to do grid searches? Why did he not allow EquiSearch to get out on horses, which, by the way, is the only way that you're going to search in the Catalina foothills with any kind of success and any kind of speed? It is rugged terrain. Horses make it look simple. Human beings do not. Everything there can poke you, and you just sort of have to be very sure-footed. Samantha's husband was a high-level Democrat operative in the White House. True, and I had a red bike once. I'm not being an ass, but honestly, I don't see how any of that has anything to do with this case. I don't think that anybody in the Democratic Party had a hand in snatching Nancy Guthrie, and if they did, we'd already know about it. Because every time you got to tell one other idiot that you're involved. Now, if you start with somebody that is that high up in the Democratic Party, you think that one person got down to Arizona and started trying to find criminals to do this? To find criminals, you have to find a criminal that's going to find your criminals, right? That you can't just go and hire hit people or people. YouTube sucks. Before anybody badmouths what I've got going on here for my internet access, see, they won't even let me click on a comment. It's time to admit that whoever planned this abductor is much smarter than all the experts claiming he's a fumbling idiot. I disagree. We are very used to TV where these things happen like this, but you have to have enough evidence. It's not enough to go, we know who did this. You have to be able to prove that they did it. And you have to be able to prove that they did it beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm an excellent example. They had somebody, I was a bank robber, and they had somebody that told on me, and they told them enough to put me in prison for a very long time. However, that's not enough to prove it. So I got called in. They said, would you be willing to come in and talk to us? And I said, sure, I can come in and talk to you, which I did. They didn't arrest me. I got up and walked out. They called me in again. I talked to him for 4.5 hours the second time. I got up, I walked out. This went on until they had about 30 hours of interrogating me. And then they let me get up and walk out. This process took weeks, but they already knew I did it. They already knew I did it before we ever sat down. And this happens a lot in true crime. Everybody bitched. You guys may or may not remember this because when we look backwards, it seems like things change, right? But when we looked backwards, at the Brian Koberger case, right? The 4 college students that were murdered. When we look back on that, we go, well, they did a great job. We were bitching the exact same way at day 47. There goes our local street gang. The Wolves just rode by. This is one of those things that we were bitching about at day 47. Today's day 47, right? But we look back on Koberger like, boy, they did a good job on that one. If you were in the true crime community during that, there is no Cajun army. They are as credible. They've got drones. Even if they suck, why would you not put them up in the air? They've got drones. I understand what you're saying. It is the Cajun Navy that was more famous. The Cajun Army is these new upstarts or whatever. But why in the name of God would you not let somebody with drones?
I let Troop 17 look for her.
I would let Troop 17 look for her.
Boy Scouts,
Johnny Scoville says, Troop 17, when they're not selling Girl Scout cookies, I'd have them out there looking for them. I mean, why would you turn away anyone that wants to look is the better question. Honestly, anybody. Why would you not allow anyone that wants to look for this woman's body to do so? Because you're an egomaniac and you've got a little fiefdom, which you think is the coolest thing in the world, and you like going on interviews. I think he likes the fact that they're following him, right? He's got more than one car. Why do you think he took the Corvette, right? Because he likes the way he looks in the damn Corvette. It's a C8, had the drop top down. Do you agree that she was rich? Yeah. I do. Not to be late, but do Hoda and Savannah have a bad history? I don't have any idea if they have a bad history, but I don't believe, and this is just my opinion, having known a bunch of criminals in my life, I don't see Hoda turning into a criminal to get a better position at her work. That to me doesn't, I mean, you know, you want to get to 8 million a year because you're only making 6. You're going to risk the 6 million a year for that extra 2. That doesn't pass the smell test to me as a former criminal. There are 600 of you in here. Do me a favor, smack that like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Get over there and do it at my wife's channel, Relatable Reese. I promise you'll thank me later. You really will thank me later. You're exactly, says Charbear, and he needs to go. You're right. Now they're talking about suspicious, supposedly abandoned house in the back of Nancy's. Isn't this something they should have noted at the beginning of the investigation? Yes. And a lot of talking heads are shitting all over everybody involved because they're saying, you know, now this is just opportunistic, right? Some of the people that want him removed are also running for office in other places. This has nothing to do with him. This kind of stuff happens all the time. BS. There's always fog in the middle of an investigation. This is normal for true crimers. If you've been following true crime for a while, this happens all the time. What doesn't happen is incompetence, right? Incompetence. Trying, Michael. Trying. But what ends up happening in a lot of these cases is that everybody pisses and moans that things aren't going well. And there's something to be said that this happens all of the time. However, things like not securing a crime scene, that is cop 101. Making sure that no one is going to traipse all over your scene, that's kind of a big deal. Why, thank you, babe. Sheriff Nanos is on his way out. He will be in big trouble. He screwed himself. What a dumbass. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I don't think this is a situation that he's going to survive as a cop. Also, there's a really solid piece of evidence that this guy falsified his records, man. Hold on one second. Did you hear Ashley say that her high-level source isn't backing down on neckbeard? I did. And there are a lot of people that seem to want us off of that. Even AI now, if you look it up, says that they have passed polygraphs. Of course, a wellness retreat thing. Stephanie, I don't know the answer to that. Honestly, I have no idea what their relationship is. Hold on one sec. The YouTuber super chats would pitch in on streamers' channels, buy a truckload of $3 Chuck wine, pass it out to the homeless, and tell them to search. You'd have searchers go where others would never go. Yeah, but you know what, man? I remember when it was $2 Chuck, and then it was $3 Chuck. I think it's like $5 now in the United States, isn't it? You can't get $3 Chuck anymore. And as far as bad wine goes, that's actually really good wine. Honestly, like I used to, believe it or not, I used to watch a wine channel, and every year they would talk about cheap wine, and the Chuck brand always won for the best cheap wine on the planet. If Tommaso did this, she would got a Uber home. Well, here's the thing. If Tommaso did this, she would have got an Uber home. I don't know that logic holds out in my opinion, Tim. I think that for all we know, because we don't really know the big picture, right? For all we know, this was pretty obvious. Gary Ridgway passed a polygraph. So did Ted Bundy. There's a lot of really famous dirtbags that were guilty of sin that passed lie detector tests. Who was the guy that buried all the kids in the basement? John Wayne Gacy also passed one. So if Tommaso did this, she would have got an Uber home. I think you actually might look better if you give her a ride home. Boone's Farm was always my favorite in high school, Charbert. That was what you bought for your girlfriends. Nothing tops a well-chilled bottle of Annie Green Springs. There you go, chef. And you can trust him on that. If you've never gone over to his channel, you Rianiti on ice. So nice. What are you eating, cat? Check out your stupid animal. I'm sorry. She's still a kitten, and she eats things that she really shouldn't. What's that white thing up there? Rewards you've been offered right away. You mean you didn't think the $3,200 reward that they had for the first couple of weeks was a good one? Then it went up by a couple of $100,000, and it had to be put up by someone else, right? Mad Dog 2020. Oh man, Wild Irish Rose. Are we really going down this? Thunderbird. That was always a good one. $1.99. Brazil. There you go. I heard that the FBI has 3 people in mind on the Nancy case: 1 in Tucson and 2 in Grand Junction. I have not heard that, but I like it. I also think that there's a really good chance that a lot of what we're getting is sort of misinformation. But what my guy in the Pima County Sheriff's Office said is that now everything that is happening is being put out, like what teams are doing what. It's all being organized and put out by the FBI. I've said from day one on this, I have a lot of experience with the FBI, sadly. And they're really good at what they do. They do not, and I mean do not get their person. It might take a while. Silver satin with Kool-Aid. Any MD 2020, they used to pour out half of it and dump Kool-Aid in. Grand Junction is where the Google searches came from. Interesting, Roulette Master. Boone's Farm strawberry wine when I was a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah, or Tickle Pink was another big one. I drank a little in high school. Yeah, you know what? This is a pretty good comment. It does seem a little crazy. It's not as crazy as it is when you live there. 714, do you see that? Oh, I know Chef's getting a laugh out of that if no one else is. The whole town seems a little bit crazy stuff, and nightclub life probably goes beyond goth scene. One of the sleuth teams has a few brothers camped out, right, by Nancy's bunker, 42 feet down. Yeah, I heard about the bunker thing. The last time I was on, someone brought it up, and they said it was 12 miles away. I thought they were saying it was 12 miles deep. The deepest hole ever punctured in the earth that a human being went down was 1.5 miles. But there's also been reported that every home in the Catalina foothills has a bomb shelter. I didn't know anybody in the Catalina foothills that had a bomb shelter. We didn't have one. Our house was built at the same time as Nancy Guthrie's. So I didn't know anyone that did. Maybe some rich people had them, but it's not like it's pro forma and every house in the Catalina foothills has a bomb shelter. It's just not the case. Reporters I follow have sources, says they were myopically focused on Tomato for weeks, but nothing panned out, so now they're starting over. I'm just the messenger. I'm not mad at you. But there are other people that are saying the exact opposite, and that also is pretty damn common, right? I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Sorry. Yes, 12/19, 1115, 117, and 13. There are dates that they are looking at all over the place. There also seem to be hot to trot on the white car that they told us nothing to see here. You remember that? When they saw the white car, but it was 2.5 miles away. It's a Kia, and or everyone thinks it's a Kia. It's hard, I'm not good at that, but they claim it's a Kia. And everybody's saying nothing to see here. It's not really a lead we're going to be chasing down. It's interesting or whatever. Now they want to know if anyone saw that car on the 31st, sometime around 10:30. And I want to tell you something. If that turns out to be anything of a lead, then they're in deep trouble. Because once they can focus in on a car, they can start to focus in on whether or not there were there were phones inside that car. You might put away a cell phone when you're out doing dirt. You might also turn it back on, put it in your car when you think it's over, right? What about the Ford Bronco? I don't remember them saying a Ford Bronco. I remember them saying a gray car that might have been a pickup or a SUV, but I don't remember specifically them saying Bronco. Where do I think Nancy is? I think she's dead. I catch a lot of crap every time I say this. I think she's dead.
When are you going to stop catching crap? It's been a month and a week.
You would think I'd stop catching crap at some point or another. They also, it's been reported, at least on Nancy Grace's show, that they're looking for any kind of pharmacies that might have been filling the same kind of order for prescriptions that she had. Just a retired criminal. But I said that on the third day. I hope that they're off looking at every pharmacy they can get to just to see if this. That doesn't mean that they're chasing a lead. It's just freaking logical. If you wanted to keep her alive and you didn't snatch up the medication, you're going to have to go get it. However, they probably would have gone across the border. And if they did, the FBI can walk into those pharmacies and have a better chance of somebody talking to them, because in the United States, they're not going to just tell you who filled prescriptions like that. We've got those HIPAA laws that protect you from shit like that, and they're bulletproof. They really are. Tommy, Luke has a bald spot on his top lip, same place as the supposed scar, light reflection, plus hair on the lower lip, eyes in the same stare. Yeah, now, allegedly, he also took a polygraph test. Don't know whether or not that is true or false, though, do we? Tommy, do the houses just sit on dirt pads or cement pads? If they did, they could just take up a floor in a house, bury someone, and make it look like remodeling a new floor, and no one would suspect or see. That is a possibility. That happens with on a regular basis. You guys may remember the movie Goodfellas, the Lufthansa heist, right? You guys remember that? What was Jimmy Burke's name in the movie? Jimmy Conway, the character that was played by Robert De Niro. What's that? Yeah, you're on one tonight. Hard to believe. But in that film, Robert De Niro's character starts killing everybody that had anything to do with that case. In real life, that's why Henry Hill ratted before any other thing happened. It wasn't like it was in the movie. It was because he knew it was just a matter of time before he got whacked by De Niro's character. His name was Jimmy Burke. Jimmy Burke buried somebody in a basement and put brand new concrete down. Then somebody finally sold that house, and the people started to do new construction, and they came across a body. This was about 2 or 3 years ago. And the first arrest from the Lufthansa heist happened from finding that body. So it does happen. It absolutely does happen, and that is a possibility. However, it probably wouldn't be in the Catalina foothills, because that would assume that these people had $1 million house. And I doubt that the people that did this are in $1 million house. They could have her somewhere else. I think it's interesting that they think that this car might have been driving through the neighborhood at 10:30. It makes you wonder if they were returning to the scene of the crime or what they would be doing. Now, they could also be chasing their tails. They're going to be chasing down every single lead. But as this stuff starts to leak out, we get bits and pieces. We get drips and drabs. So we hear things and we all go, ooh, this could be it. And it also just could be them chasing this down. Nanos has said they're looking at hundreds of thousands of cars. Kia hasn't sold hundreds of thousands of that model, so there has to be other cars. I actually looked up how many of those Kia Souls were sold in over a 5-year period of time. There weren't even hundreds of thousands of them sold in Arizona. So there's no telling how many different cars they're looking at. However, if by some chance they are hot to trot on this for 10:30, when it gets out of the neighborhood and goes right or left, it's going to start driving by businesses. And they're going to be able to start picking that car up off of all kinds of businesses, ATM machines, corner stores, furniture stores, 7-Elevens or Quick Trips or any of these. And eventually that thing's going to turn a corner and they're going to get a license plate. It's going to get chased down. I don't think it's going to be somebody that rats. I think it's going to get chased down through that kind of technology. The reason I would never, if I had to do it all over again, I couldn't be a bank robber. I would have got caught on the first one. Because cameras now are ubiquitous, right? They're everywhere, and you're going to get caught on camera, either in the getaway driver or anything else. Yes, this has been reported pretty widely among everybody that person is Natalie is a pharmacy tech and still has not mailed me anything cool in the mail. No, she says, I'm a pharmacy tech. Absolutely right. HIPAA law is in place. I'm kidding, people. I live in South America anyway. Can't mail me things. I noticed today you can see headlights on the bottom left of the photo of the perp without a backpack. Not sure if anyone's seen that. I don't think that those are headlights, Squidward. If you ever are in the Catalina foothills at night, you will see all kinds of lights that sit up on hills. It goes like this, right? The Catalina foothills are swales, and they didn't bulldoze any of them. They made the topography stay the way it was. So there are houses built at the bottom of things, there are houses built halfway up, and there are houses that are built up on ridges. Obviously, the higher you are on the ridge, the better a view you have of Tucson, the more expensive the house. That being said, very often you're looking at porch lights, you're looking at security lights, small ones, because you can get away with having lights on your house in Tucson. You just can't have light pollution on your house in Tucson. They make it sound like it's jet black. You can have a light over your garage. No one's going to give you shit about that. What you can't do is light up your house like the 4th of July. And more importantly, what they don't do is illuminate street lights in the traditional way. The road that I lived on, and I won't say the name of it because the trolls are bad enough, but the road that I lived on had lights. There are places within the Catalina foothills where there are lights in front of the houses. In most cases, there are people that paid to run they were agreed as a neighborhood that they were going to, and they're about this big. They're like very classic, old school, white bulb, like white domed bulbs. And half of my street didn't have them. The other half did. So as you pulled into my neighborhood, the streets are actually half-ass illuminated. It's not like it would be, say, in the neighborhoods where Koberger did his crimes, but it is certainly different. Given we don't know everything going on behind the scenes, how close do you think they are to solving this? I think they're a lot closer than they were a few weeks ago. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are putting this guy, Nanos, out to work out and into his Corvette C8. Every house in the U.S. is $1 million house now, says Leslie. There's a lot of truth on that, man. Shame on Reese. I didn't see the comment that brought that on, but it's so true. It's so true. I never get sick of Reese. It's absolutely a fact. If you're listening to anything that Nano says, then you're delusional. Jerry Ellen, I tend to agree with you. However, you have to pick and choose because he's going to say some things that if you read between the lines may give you something to go on. But I do think he's an idiot, right? I do think he's an idiot. Do me a favor, everybody. There's 825 of you in here and only 329 of you have hit like. If you don't like me, for God's sakes, hit the down button. But get involved. It's keeping free speech alive. You want me to start saying pew pew? For the love of God. Thank you, Tracy Patch. Says, please go hit that like button. You think they realized she was without meds by then and tried to return? No. I remember very specifically doing a crime and leaving something behind. And we were all sitting around having a conversation. And one of the guys said, well, we could go back and get it. And there were 4 people in the room who were all criminals. And it was one of these numbers. We could do what? we're gonna walk back to where we just committed a crime. I don't see the perps having the balls to ever go back to that house. I really, really doubt that. However, there are some stupid people out there. Saw something today on a perp's profile. Said because of manicured eyebrows and mustache, arrogant and last minute pick. Interesting. Perhaps. Off topic, but Supermicro co-founder Yi Shan, Wally Lee, we'll just put that up there, and 2 associates with conspiracy to export restricted NVIDIA AI servers worth $2.5 billion to China. Yeah, I have a feeling this happens a lot. We are in an AI arms race currently. The entire world is fighting to be the first to get a sentient AI, which is just absolutely terrifying to me. Hey, Tommy, that's a good question for Nanos' removal. It's assumed Nancy was taken out alive. He violated HIPAA laws by announcing pacemaker and probably got her killed, announcing sniffer some lawsuit. You know what? Interesting. It really is interesting. I'm a funny guy. Funny how, Natalie? Like I'm here to amuse you, like I'm a friggin' clown. 100% believe Luke is the porch guy after watching Brianna Whitney. I don't. And the reason that I don't is a couple of things. Number one, I personally have more faith in the FBI than to think that they had this guy. They interrogated this guy. His vehicle certainly wasn't there, right? They had his vehicle and released it within a week. They had Annie's for more than a month. And everybody can tell you why they think that is. I'm not buying it until there's something better that comes along. How much longer do you think law enforcement is going to keep pursuing this case? Until they're out of leads. That's usually how that works. And very often, even when they're out of leads, they will hire a new crew that goes, or put a new crew on it that goes back and looks at the same evidence. But a cold case is when there's nothing else to chase. You're sitting around going, now what do we do? Depending on who you believe, because it's getting reported differently now a lot, but there's somewhere between 40 and 55,000 leads, right? Think about that. There's a lot of leads. Now, some of them are going to be duplicates. They're going to be people that suggest things. There's going to be, but if you take out 25 to 50% of them for just being dog shit, then you still have 25,000 leads that you have to work. I think that this case is going to be solved. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I know that that may not be a popular opinion, but I do believe that the FBI will solve this case. They usually do. No, I said that somebody in my chat, Leslie, was a pharmacy tech. Can you please do another show like last night? Conspiracy, UFAs, ghosts, coast to coast. You know what? Unboxing with Lori. I got about 100 emails from people that said the same thing. I will do a tinfoil hat night, and we'll stay on for 3 or 4 hours and talk about all the conspiracy theories. I promise it's coming. Look for it next week. Did you hear that state representative has started the petition to recall Nanos? Thanos needs the citizen signature to pass it, but I don't recall what that number is. Yes, I absolutely heard this. He is part of about 5 of these that are all trying to get him done. If they get together and bring all of those together, they probably already have enough signatures to get him ousted. And I think that's coming. I think it's coming quick. Now, a lot of people are saying this guy is this is just opportunistic shit because he's running for state representative. And maybe it is. But to rule this out as can't blame the sheriff, there's always a lot of fog. He didn't secure the crime scene. He turned the crime scene back over to the family after hour 30 before letting the FBI there. He did not allow anybody to continue searching for her after hour 30. When they put people up in the sky and used all of their assets, they didn't have the person who should have been in the co-pilot seat looking at the issue. Looking at the infrared. And the reason they didn't was because he had already benched the guy that was doing that. Hold on a second. What did I miss? Hold with me. Fetish communities, men love to wear eyeliner. Have trans in their group. Could explain the female-looking camera perp. Yeah, I think the female-looking camera perp may look similar through the eyes, right? But I missed Tim's comment, so I don't know what Tim's good idea was, or I would have commented on it. I apologize, but you're moving pretty quick, which is a good sign. Speaking of which, do me a favor, smack that like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notification. 120,000 signatures in 3 months' time. I don't think that's going to be a stretch, man. Honestly, I don't think that's going to be a stretch. You're right. There is nothing other than the evil, maybe. Yeah, to me, Jerry, he looks considerably bigger than that. Right? He's considerably bigger than that. Must live in Pima County Sheriff jurisdiction and be a registered voter is my understanding. Yeah, Tracy, that probably would make sense. It is a very, Pima County Sheriff, the Pima County jurisdiction is massive. Honest to God, it's more land than like 2 states in the Northeast. Sleuth Intuition has a copy of Luke Daly and Kayla Day's arrest forms from May 2025. They had a ton of drugs, guns, magazines, a lot of U.S. cash. Kayla's husband is allegedly a wanted man. Okay. Well, I looked at her criminal record. She was moving a lot of stolen property. That's has many charges for that. That's an awful lot. Bigger than several states. Oh, the body on that person looks way bigger to me than a woman. And the way that that person moves does not look even remotely feminine to me. That person looks very much like a man. Now, you could say trans. It could be. That's a man, baby, says Johnny Scoville. Yes, hive mind wide open. My fast is still going. Tomorrow is the last day I got to get through. Saturday will be a week, and I will be done. And looking forward to eating like a Viking. Yeah, I mean, here's one of the things too. It's a liberal state. They still have 21 to choose their gender out of 67 of them. That's why I struggle with gifts so much at gender reveal parties in liberal states. Oh, goodness. I just lost a few subs. What does the perp identify as? Well, we haven't talked yet, so we'll find out at a later date. Yeah, there. You know what though? Everybody that I've had a lot of people send me freeze frames of people, and you can find similarities in a lot of them. You really can. Hey, Roddy, Mom, glad that you're here. See, I'm glad you guys are laughing because I'm going to lose 30 subs. People are really soft these days. Hey, Heather Rhodes, glad you're here. Honest to God, these days you can't, you disagree with somebody and they just, but you can unsubscribe anytime you want, but you can never leave. You'll be back. Luke looks very suspicious to me. Well, Luke's a friggin' criminal, right? And he's a rat. Go ahead, hear me? He's a rat. Luke, go ahead and sue me. The number of people that said to me, you can't tell he's a rat. Oh, you can. If you've ever been a criminal, you can look at a guy's rap sheet and say, you got how much time for this? He's a rat. He didn't go to prison on a felon in possession of a firearm. Ask anybody that's done time how easy it is to not go to prison if you get caught with felon in possession of a firearm. You're going away. It's 100 out of 100 times, unless you really do a pretty good deal. The nose bridge with the ski mask. What did I miss? The nose bridge with the ski mask. How can't they find him in a database? I don't know how all that works, Mama Bear. I know a lot of people have been trying to enlighten me on this, but I just like Hotel California. That's the spirit, Beth. You got it. Looks like the same mouth through that mask. Well, you guys also believe that about the other cat too, right? We are a Marvel family over here. My son gives all the nicknames. My middle son is Captain Anxiety. Scarlet Witch here. My recovering husband is back from the Crack Panther. Oh, back from the Crack Panther. That's actually really funny. I think it was the fetish group and the feds are trying to tie them all together. That's a possibility. I don't like coincidences. But so this is not our guy, right? This isn't the guy we're talking about. Let me see. Do I still have it or did I get rid of it? I may have. We got a lot of stuff on here. Yeah, I think I may have gotten rid of it. But the upper lip, right? Think of all of the people so far that people have said, no, it looks exactly like Carlos. It looks exactly like the guy from California who definitely was not in the state at that time. He's in a lot of trouble with the feds, but he's not in a lot of trouble for being involved in the actual kidnapping. It is a points of angle they can determine. Well, then you would think they'd already have them, right? You would think that they'd already have them. Maybe the perp is a florist. Nice, Captain Jenks. I think that the perp was really looking hard for something to pry that off the wall with. And if you look at the early pictures in the early days, you can actually see a stick sticking behind the, it's not a ring cam, it's a Nest camera. Behind the Nest camera, you can see a stick sticking behind there. Even if they show you the pictures the day before they actually removed the housing, you could still see shrubbery behind it. If you were just trying to cover it, I don't think the shrubs would have gotten behind it. In Missouri, a gun charge for a felon is 7 hours per gun. Yeah, you're going to have to show me that on paper because that's a federal offense. Felon in possession of a firearm. I just spent 13 years of my life in prison for felon in possession of a firearm. That was what I went away for. I did more time for having a firearm, getting caught with firearms, than I did for robbing banks. It's called 512C, 528, and 912. Those would be the charges for that. 7 years, that might be better. Yeah, that's better. One show today said Luke had a record in trafficking. Not sure if it's true. Yeah, he's been busted for drug trafficking. Did they mean years? Yeah, they probably meant years. It normally, butt of a gun. Well, if you're trying to pry it off, you're not trying to break it. You're not trying to create noise. This is my thought on this, and I absolutely could be wrong, right? I absolutely could be wrong on this. But if it's me and I'm going up to that door, I think the person said to him, hey, guess what? All you got to do is pull it off, right? All you got to do is pull the thing off. They come off really easy. He gets up there, it ain't coming off. So he goes to look for a stick or something that he can, He's trying to get something that he can smack the thing off, pull the thing off with. That's my humble opinion. Y'all remember Half Naked Woman and the Goth Girl cameraman? He was left-handed. He was wearing platform boots. He's the type of guy that would wear eyeliner. He could be. He absolutely could be. Luke was arrested for trafficking humans, illegals. No, I didn't find that anywhere in the guy's jacket. And I looked at his arrest record. I looked at his arrest record pretty seriously, actually. Vanessa Carroll says Tommy's wife has a super channel. Relatable Wreath. Yeah, Relatable Wreath definitely has a good channel. If you've not gotten over there, you should. She'll make you laugh. She's way funnier than I am and considerably better looking. I think the arm tattoo looks like the eye, nose, and upper lip of a dog's face. Please check it out. Thanks, Tommy. Rock Prophet, I will. I still think it's the bandmate, says Roddy Mom's Designs. Her name is Kiki. And Kiki was out there allegedly, right? She was out there to launch her new true crime channel. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for the fact that a lot of the pictures are of younger people. It's hard sometimes to get a more modern photo. His build is too small to be that guy, says retired PD 911. They, according to, people, I've heard people say, yeah, he could be 6 feet tall. I promise you, if the feds said that he's 5'10", he's 5'10". When they put that what do they call those things? A tent. When they put that white tent up, they were going in there to put up a device that they take pictures of, and they measure the height of everything in there. Then when you look at the image of the guy standing there, you can see what tile he's standing on. Measured from that tile up, you can tell just about how tall he is. And I know this one for a fact because that's what they do to you when you rob a bank. And I promise they're very good at it. What if Kiki and her photographer were back at the scene of a crime? Well, a lot of people think that that's a possibility. I think that's a little bold, especially to go back there dressed like that. I think that allegedly she was getting ready to launch a true crime channel probably makes a lot of sense because to me, like this is a great time. I've been doing this for a minute, but how many people have just started doing true crime because of this? She's a local. She could say that she was, part of the town, part of the scene, and she goes over there dressed like a freak with her ass hanging out so she can launch her channel. I don't know. That kind of passes the smell test. It's bad friggin' form. But how's Reese? Hope she's okay. A lot of trolls last was, yeah, you know what? Here's the thing with trolls, man. They're usually a sign that you're doing something right. And Reese is pretty good at that. Saw Kiki near the flowers, barely dressed in black leather, totally inappropriate on YouTube stream. Yeah, and then she took the flowers with her when she left. Classy. They were just a prop. She didn't even bother leaving at the scene. Hit that like and subscribe because Tommy is a YouTuber. Hello to his better-looking brother. Yeah, yep. My mother thinks the same thing. That's why I was on drugs. Yeah, they put that up a little bit long after the fact. I agree with that. What makes you think? Thank you, Gary Mackey, by the way. You personally are keeping free speech alive, and I appreciate you. Make me understand, right, how we know anything was said in the 9-second call from Carlos the Neckbeard after the text. How do you know that it didn't pick up on an answering machine and there was 9 seconds? The whole world is 100% convinced that there was a 9-second phone call, right? It means nothing to me that there was a 9-second phone call. I'm sorry, it really doesn't. It means absolutely nothing. Melissa, I have a source at the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Most people will not talk to me. I'm a retired criminal, but I do have a source currently in the and when it comes to the pacemaker, I had 2 doctors that followed the channel that reached out to me that installed these things. So yes and no. For the most part, no, I'm just an ex-criminal, truthfully. But I don't have that 9 seconds means nothing to me. And here's why. This guy doesn't hold his mud. If you're the kind of guy that isn't going to tell on someone, then you don't tell on yourself. When you go in and the guy says, you have the right to remain silent, you go, and I'm going to use it. Talk to you guys later. That's what criminals do, right? You're talking about Derek, right? The guy from California. They sat him down. Derek confessed that fast. A guy that confesses on himself that fast, the next words out of his mouth are, I'd like to cut a deal. I'd like to cut a deal. I wasn't there. I didn't grab her. Man, all I was supposed to do was catch the Bitcoin. I want to cut a deal, and I want to cut one today. Who can I talk to? I promise you. I don't need any source for this one. I know a lot of criminals, and that cat would have cut a deal in seconds. Criminals don't talk. Kiki is the girl that was whose ass was hanging out of the black leather mini shorts, who was photographed standing in front of Nancy Guthrie's house. SWAT in LA surrounding houses, connection to this case. Any truth to this? No idea, Tony. I can't verify that. You know what? Cowboy Logic makes a decent point. But I'm not too concerned about that. I know, and maybe I'll end up being wrong on this, right? Because a lot of people are very high on that 9 seconds. I think it probably went something like this. Hey, are you going to send this money? Are you going to send this money? The other thing is they turned Nancy's daughter, Annie, and Tommaso were the ones that turned over the text messages and told the feds about the phone call. That's not something you usually do to someone you're in cahoots with. It's a really great way to go to prison. And trust and believe they were going to find out, right? So Derek would have found out. How did you get on to me? Well, when you sent this out, right? When you sent out the information, the people that you sent it out to called us. He'd have gone, screw this. I'm telling on him. That's my humble opinion. The geeky goth chick was smart. They are young and internet savvy. She showed up half naked, strutted in front of JLR's live stream that had 40,000 people viewing it. That is marketing 101. And we're still talking about her, right? When the dude man snitched on you, why did you keep going in after week to be questioned? I had an attorney with me. And what I was hoping for was that they didn't have enough info on me. And I had an attorney saying, don't answer that, don't answer this. In all honesty, what I was hoping was to find out information, and I did. Because they would say, if we find so-and-so, is he going to tell us this? And on the very last day in there, they said, why is he telling us this? And I went, what did you just say? And that's when I got up and said, I'm leaving, and they arrested me the next day. But I wasn't going in there hog wild and talking to them without an attorney there. It was on the advice of an attorney who, by way of full disclosure, did a lot of drugs with me and probably wasn't a great attorney. Can we get a prayer for Sharon's doggy, please? I'm so sorry, Sharon. Fur babies are babies. I know that. JLR was getting 1 million views a day on his live. Good for him, man. That is absolutely fantastic. Thoughts on the Cesar Chavez allegations? He has streets and schools everywhere named after him. Well, I mean, Cesar Chavez was a rebel back in the day, right? This is a guy that helped organize unions. He was a massive figure and is very, very popular in Latin culture for what he did to help the people that had come to the United States to work within what do you call it? The agriculture business. He's a bit of a legend. Yeah, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. It's the money doesn't matter anymore. Staying out of prison is the only priority. Great show as always, Tommy. Thank you. I appreciate it. The Derek had a get out of jail free card. The whole world wants to find this woman, right? Yeah, badass. I actually heard the same thing, and I don't want to out the guy, but when people bring him up on the show, allegedly he's got a case, and I don't. It's not a case that I don't cotton to smacking women. It's kind of one of those things that bums me out, but just allegedly. How long do you think it'll take to solve? I mean, the Sheriff Nanos is saying he thinks it could be years. That's just unacceptable. I don't think it could be years. I truly don't think it could be years, but that's just one of those. Yeah, Cowboy Logic, I've heard some of that as well. However, I'll tell you this. Before anybody hangs any content creator for things that people say about them, not only can you not believe 90% of what you hear on YouTube, you no longer can believe 90% of what you see, right? There are all kinds of people that there's a lot out there that's bullshit, and I don't run too much with what I hear online for that reason. I have heard my own voice on a YouTube channel saying things that I never said. Now, that particular channel did put a really small thing on the bottom that it was AI generated and what app they used to use my voice. But how many people saw that? How many people just listened to it? And a lot of them don't even bother with that. Everyone is copying you right now with AI. Roulette Master, I believe that. This is an epidemic. And yesterday I said, as an example, I said a lot of people, JLR spent time in prison for fraud. Yeah, I heard that. I spent a lot of time in prison myself, though. I probably won't judge him for that. It's kind of an amazing thing that people don't hear everything you say. Yesterday I said there's a lot of AI that just goes and they'll take a good true crime channel and they'll plug that channel into AI, a channel like Surviving the Survivor, because Joel's a friend of mine. He's got a great channel. I used him as an example. In the comment section, someone said, you don't know what you're talking about. Surviving the Survivor is not an AI channel. You don't listen, right? I've been on that channel a dozen times. I'm pretty aware that it's not an AI channel. The perp does not have manicured eyebrows. It's the way the mask fits. Laura, Johnny Scoville said the exact same thing. We're not looking at eyebrows. We're looking at the stitching on the mask. I don't know whether or not that's true, but that's what Johnny Scoville thinks. Tommy, would you be willing to freeze frame Luke, check the areas, zoom in and check the lip as well, and give an opinion? Yes, I won't do it tonight, but I can. Joel is great. He is. He's also got a great sense of humor. If you ever saw Joel, he's very much, he's a funnier guy when he's not live, but he is and he's got a great family. I love his mother. You know, he's got his wife, the chief of everything, is fantastic. They're a great family. I really, there's nothing bad I can say about him as a content creator. He's a great guy. Really is a great guy. And he's talented as hell. And he has morals that he could loan out. He's not going to run with stuff that he doesn't think is solid. He's pretty good at what he does. Here's my question. If Nancy died and it's a botched kidnapping, could these morons have not got Nancy's picture and voice from a TV segment, fed it into AI, and made proof of life video? Wonder why not. Sam Lamb, it's interesting that you say that. In fact, I think it's a great question. Does he realize how many people are absolutely pissed off at him? Nanos acts like he doesn't give a shit. I don't think he does. Honestly, I don't think he cares. I think that he views all of this as fame. And there's a lot of people that would just as soon be infamous instead of not being known, which is really messed up. But so this is a great question. If you remember the very first time that the Guthrie children, right, came out and talked, they said, we live in a world of AI, right? Maybe they did that. Maybe they saw something or heard a voice and they didn't believe it was her. But proof of life, especially in 2026, usually requires someone saying, we'll put her on the phone and you can ask her questions. Or give me a list of 3 questions that no one else on earth could possibly know the answer to except your mother, right? What was the nickname you gave me when I was 3? Where was the first camp that I went to? What happened that I got kicked out of soccer when I was in 9th grade? Like any question that only mom's going to know, right? So usually that is involved in proof of life, Sam Lamb, but that's a great question. And I wonder whether or not they did attempt that. I have not found a creator that did anything bad in this case. Oh, God, I have. Oh, God, I have. But I don't talk about content creators, right? I don't. As a rule of thumb, I don't do it. They talk about me, but I don't talk about them. And the reason is, I think it's one of those narrow-minded things. And I'm not talking about you guys doing it. I'm talking about as a content creator, right? We talk about issues. We talk about concepts. If you're talking about people, that's low-hanging fruit. I find it shitty and distasteful. But there are some content creators that have done some stuff on this that are so absolutely disgusting that I could spend 2 hours talking about it. I don't say the sheriff is involved. I don't say Savannah is involved, but she's addicted to see her face on TV, and she would do anything to continue to see on her face on TV. Nothing else matters. Okay. Okay. I think that a lot of people that work in front of a camera get addicted to what they do for work. Yeah, Cowboy Logic. There are people that, I mean, I'm sure that there are people that would say I'm addicted to seeing my face on on screen. I assure you, I'm not. I really like what I do for a living, and I've talked about this at length with people in private. If there was a way to do this and not be seen, I probably would do that. But it would look like AI. Everything would suck. But you can get addicted to your job and not necessarily be an egomaniac, and you can really love what you do for work. She hasn't gone back on the air yet. She has gone and done some spots or whatever, but it's been months. I think that a lot of people would have gone back quicker, so I don't necessarily know that. Texas Red says, I cover the mirrors so that I don't see my face. I used to do the same thing, but it was when I was, before I got sober and worked through my shit, mirrors were an absolute nightmare to me. These days, I mean, I am what I am. I'm not I'm not Brad Pitt, but that woman loves me, and that's pretty much all I'm looking for these days. That works out. You know what? I love that. Our final duty and act of love to our fur babies is protect them from end-of-life pain. We take their pain on ourselves to protect and free them. True, but it's a hard thing. I had a friend, and I had to be with him when he. Thank you. You have a good night too. Thanks for spending time with me. I was with him when he made the decision to put down his dog, and it was the worst thing that I had ever seen. And he went out and bought like 4 or 5 pounds of filet, and went and cooked it and made a last meal for him and gave him all of his toys. And he actually paid to have the vet come over to his house to give him the shot that ended him. It was horrible, but it is one of those things that, because of how long we live, unless you're getting a parrot, you're probably aware of the fact that someday it's going to happen. And that sucks, but it is what it is. We get so much out of them. Speaking of which, Zip Zip, come here, you little snot. She's making sure that her mother's situation can be kept alive. I agree with that. She offered a reward day after it was announced she is going back to work. Donation and reward, fixing bad PR. I disagree. She wanted to offer the award immediately and was told that she shouldn't do that by Sheriff Nanos. And what he said is it's going to bring in so many leads that aren't going to be solid. So it's not like she just decided to put up the reward that day. She finally got sick of their shit and said, I'm putting the reward up that day. But if you want to hate Savannah Guthrie, you can do it. Not mad at you. I don't think Savannah's got shit to do with this. I don't find her to be a reprehensible person. We don't agree on 100% of things in life, but I don't see any fault in her for this. I absolutely see the woman as a victim, but that's just one man's opinion. Cat, I get it. Savannah is wasting away with grief. She doesn't care about PR. She does look like she's 15 years older than when this case started, and I would imagine that this is hell on earth. And she's going to spend the rest of her life wondering what she could have done differently. What would have happened if I had paid those fake people? Because right now they don't know they're fake. And she's going to spend that time going, maybe I should have just, I don't hate her. I just have insiders at NBC. Well, they seem to hate her. This is kind of a tough time in this woman's life. But if she doesn't care about her mother, because I believe what you said is the only thing she cares about is her image on television, I think she cares about her mother, and I think it shows pretty heavily when you watch her aging in front of our eyes, and you watch the torment that she's going through. I gotta believe that she cares about her as much as she cares about her image on TV. But that's just my humble opinion. I think it was a kidnapping gone bad, and sadly, she was probably close, but maybe in the mountains. Well, I do tend to think she's probably close because I don't think it makes a lot of sense to want to be driving around with an 84-year-old woman after you've already committed the crime. Ow, it's not nice. I cannot imagine the grief of this family, says Natalie Travis. I can't either. I have a mother the same age, and I don't know. I talked to her more since this happened, and that's probably not a good thing. All right, you know what? Now you just seem like a bitch. I'm sorry, but now you just seem like a bitch. And I'm trying to be nice. I really have been trying to be nice, but now you just seem like a bitch. I'm sorry. That's just kind of how I feel. Maybe it's because I haven't eaten in a long time. No, you don't have to do that. But I'm just saying, if you're trying to come off as someone that really looks like you're not a kind person, you're hitting it out of the park with 900 people watching because you're not coming across as a particularly kind person. Sorry. Why do you think no one has come forward to give information to collect the reward? Because I think it's a very tight circle of people. I think that there may be, let's say that there are 3 people that were there that night. They're not coming forward because they will absolutely they're going to go to prison. That's felony murder. It doesn't make a difference one way or the other, right? So let's say my theory is right, and Neckbeard and Annie are the ones that hired him. They're sure as shit not going to say anything. And the 3 people that were there are going to be on the hook for murder and can't get the reward. So it's going to have to be somebody outside that 5 people. So I don't think it's a large enough circle. And it's why when people start making the conspiracy wider, right? Like Hoda did it, or somebody in the Democratic Party did it. Now, instead of having 2 people that hired them and the 3 people that went out and did this, you're starting to get into a circle that gets a hell of a lot bigger. And the bigger the circle gets, the more you're going to have someone who's on the outside of that circle, someone that's just an ancillary player that can actually get paid the $1 million. Don't jump on that computer. That can actually get paid the $1 million. All of the people that I just named, those 5 ain't getting paid, right? Those 5 ain't getting paid. I agree with you on this. Monica K, I feel the same way. And it wasn't, and I understand why people say this, right? I don't give a happy fuck what the law says. I'm going to announce a reward for every dime I have and every dime I will ever have. Savannah sadly trusted the wrong advice. I agree with you on this. Do I think the person on the video thought they were going to be seen? No, I do not. Yeah, she did adore her mom. And did she go on without makeup in the beginning of them? Yeah. But she's also gone on with makeup, and she still doesn't look like she did beforehand. And it's just, there's a lot of people that, there are a lot of people that seem to hate the woman. I mean, you can say you have a source at NBC, or you can say that, you know, whatever, but that it just seems mean, and mean people suck. I'm sorry. You can come back tomorrow and not be mean, but that you're just coming off that way. Savannah truly looks like she has lost sleep. It's so sad. I can't imagine that she slept well. I'm sorry for your loss, Chef, but what a way to go. You can't see or hear. Back out, come back in. That sometimes will do it. She aged 15 years. I thought so myself. I don't know what that means. Leslie, help me. You can see the grief on Savannah's face. I can't imagine how her kids are dealing with this. Yeah, it's got to be very hard on the family. There has been a lot of hate that has come out for Savannah. Maybe that's what you're saying. There really seems to be a lot. How do you fast for a week? That has to be so hard. You drink an awful lot of water so that your stomach always feels full. This is not Sprite. This is water. And I drink them nonstop around the clock. That helps a lot. And if you start getting a head rush, you take a lot of salt and then drink more water. Yes, I see. I get what you're saying, Leslie. Yeah, well, here's the thing. There's a political ideology that works its way into everything. And there are people, especially because of her husband, that view her as left-wing, and people whose ideology makes you unable to like someone who didn't vote for who you voted for. Those people tend to fasting for 1 week, Neptune's lioness. Stress and weight loss will age you fast as hell. It will. Stress is the worst thing in the world for aging you. It really is. Lack of sleep, right? All of those things are really, really bad. Yeah, that's a bottle of water. And I pound them. I don't stop. Johnny Scoble and I have gone through, I mean, we buy them in big 5-gallon jugs of water, and we're going through them at a rate that's just terrible. I feel bad for the entire Guthrie family. And I feel bad, if it is not Neckbeard and it's not Savannah, then Annie, then I feel bad for them. I still like them for this, though. I don't care about politics and tragedies like this. Tim Trimble, I respect the hell out of that. I saw that one too, where they were baking together. She does seem, I think 3 people are involved, Lou. I think 3 people were involved the night of the crime. That doesn't mean that there couldn't have been more people involved in planning it. I do still think he's a suspect, and I got no reason to not think he's a suspect, right? Everything has screamed he's a suspect. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, just had to check something. What will you have as your first meal after the fast? Ceviche. I'm going to go over and eat some mixed 2 ceviche at my friend's restaurant. Really looking forward to it. Tommy Neckbeard, organizer, Luke Porch guy, Annie found out, doesn't know, or is in on it. I can't imagine having a woman in my life that didn't know I was a bank robber, right, while I was doing it. It's a very difficult thing to hide those kind of crimes. Hey, squirrel. It's a very difficult thing to hide what you're doing in life when you're doing crime like that. I can't imagine them pulling that off. I think that if Neckbeard's in on it, then she has to be. 3 seems to be the magic number. Well, if you go back to the very beginning when I first started talking about this, and people said, do you think that someone did this alone? I said on day 1, and this is how I view everything, right? I'm a very different true crime channel. I'm not a cop. I never was a cop. I couldn't be a cop. But if somebody came to me and said, here's what I want you to do. I need you to put a crew together, or you can go do it alone, but I need you to go snatch an 85-year-old woman. Here's how this is going to go on. The first thing I would have done was put a crew together of 3 people. Now, I would never do this. It's not my kind of crime. But if I had to do this job, I would want 3 people. I would want a getaway driver that was nowhere near there. And I probably would have used back in the day a cell phone because in my day and age, they couldn't track you that way. But a walkie talkie makes a lot more sense in this day and age. And I would have wanted somebody to knock out the front camera. And I think that's what that person was doing. I think that Corey Richards, guilty as sin, Leslie. She got what she deserved, and I hope she has a very, very long sentence. Do I think they knew what they were doing? I think they had a plan, and I think that they're going to get caught. They did. This is not the perfect crime by any stretch of the imagination. It just takes a long period of time to chase down things like DNA, to do all of the different things that you have to pull off, to do even just the profiling, right? To do all of the stuff on the computers. This isn't something you do overnight, right? This isn't something you do overnight. You do on Law and Crime. You do it on shows, right? But there is no perfect crime. You're right, Tracy Pratt. And you know what's funny is Brian Koberger was trying to do the perfect crime, right? He was a true crime guy. He was trying to get a PhD in it as a criminologist, and he was trying to pull off the perfect crime. You can't anymore. The only way to handle grief is to let it have its way with you. Don't block it with substances. It comes and goes in waves. Let it take you. Correct. And you're never going to get over it, right? You're just going to learn to walk with it hand in hand, right? This has been going on a long time. It has been going on the exact same number of days that the Koberger case went on. Oh, no way. Please let me know when that is being done. Because I will watch that show and I will promote it. The encebollada is a soup that is really popular down here. Every single restaurant sells it, and everyone does it a little different. I would love to see your recipe on that. I can't wait. If you've not hit subscribe over on my friend's channel, you should go over and check out Chef Brian K. He looks a lot like a Scoville. Do we have any more information on actual conditions inside the house? No. Drips and drabs, and not a lot even out of that. Squirrel, what are you about to do? Do not jump on the computer. Driving a 1999 auto, having $700,000 house debt, and your mother-in-law decides not to move in. Unfortunately, you have to know your way around here or use GPS. Boy, you have got to know your way around the Catalina foothills, or you are going to get lost. I tell people this and they laugh at me, but I was there for almost a month and I still needed GPS to find my way around because the way that it's built out. My favorite #1 movie since I've been alive, Casablanca. No doubt about it. Casablanca. 100%. Does squirrel silent meow? No, squirrel makes a loud meow. In fact, she talks nonstop. If I'm just sitting in the room, she just talks to me all day. And if I go, are you a good kitty? You a good girl? See, she knows I'm talking to you guys, so she's not going to talk to me. But no, squirrel never shuts up. Another Duggar brother? You're kidding me, man. You're absolutely kidding me. You had a tortie that never meowed. She was, normally feral cats don't meow, right? So sometimes if you get a cat that's feral and then you're able to get them home and take care of them, meowing is not a cat's way to communicate with another cat. It's a cat's way to communicate with us. So, yeah, sometimes feral cats don't meow. Brian Enton said he had to use his GPS the whole time. That doesn't surprise me. The Catalina foothills is like no other neighborhood I have ever been in. Oh, Josh Duggar. You know what? No, I'll do a show on it, though. Allie, you have my word. I'll do a show on it. I am not a fan of that family, so I will happily do a show on that. Most of your cats are feral. Yeah. Eventually, over time, if they're around other cats that meow, sometimes they will start. If it was allegedly a family member, seems the cameras would have been out of order before even doing the crime. I think they thought they were out of order. I think they thought that by not getting the subscription and 3 hours going by, they would have nothing to worry about. Do me a favor. There's almost 900 of you in here. Do me a favor. Smack that like button. Hit subscribe and hit the bell for notification. And it does help the free speech thing so that I can say rape, sexual assault, bullet, murder, suicide, false flag, child pornography. What else am I missing? Yeah, Mossad, COVID-19, CIA. Yeah, bomb, terrorist. Yeah, this is another great example. I know the case you're talking about too. 4 people killed in a car wreck. The driver responsible on Snapchat 7 minutes before the wreck. Took a few years to get Snapchat to disclose the records. It's a slow process, apparently. Well, and a lot of times, like, they now have images from inside the house. This is allegedly what they're saying. They have images now allegedly from inside the house, right? So we have to wait for all of this to get untangled. You follow me? We have to wait for all of this to get untangled. And it does take a while. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. We wish it would. And it seems like it ought to be able to, but it's just not the way that it happened, right? It just isn't. So this is going to drag on. It's not going to drag on for as long as Sheriff Nanos said, especially if the FBI has taken this over. And my guy inside said that Nanos has got no control over this case anymore at all. I wish that had happened in the first couple of days. That would have been fantastic. It really would have. 21 years, you got to love it. I had a cat that lived to 22. So, and I had another cat that lived to 19. I'm an old man, and I've only had a couple of, my cats live really long lives, probably because I love on them like no one else on earth loves on their cats. My cat is so spoiled, it's ridiculous. Are you spoiled? Who's a spoiled kitty? She's a ridiculously spoiled kitty. She's allowed to jump on my shoulder and ride me around, and she does it from the floor when I'm not looking, and I've never once yelled at her for it, even when it scares me so bad I feel like I'm going to die. Come here. Don't jump on the computer. You hear that? Tell me that's not a pretty girl. That's my thumb. That's my thumb you're chewing on. They're love bites. She never hurts me. She's actually never scratched me, if you can believe that. Except one time when I was doing one of those little bird things, and I accidentally got it right next to my junk, and my cat jumped for it and got me. It's the only time she ever scratched me. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So picture the in the humidity in Florida and Texas. If it was like that in Ecuador, I would move. We get maybe 20 days a year that are very, very humid. It's always humid, but it's cool. It's not hot. We don't get the incredibly high temperatures. Even in season, the sun is hot as hell. The sun is hot when it's 70 degrees because we're closer to the sun here. The Ecuador sun is a lot different than any place else. Kim, I love that. Thank you so much. I am so glad you're here. Yeah, she's a great cat. She's about to jump on the computer, so if it gets turned off, she's doing this just because she wants me to get off and play with her. So she will jump on the computer from time to time. Texas, I lived in Houston, Texas, and you would step outside and walk to your mailbox, and you would already be sweating all over the place. It doesn't work like that in Ecuador because we are right on the water. We get cool breeze nonstop all the time. It is very, very different. Yeah, I had somebody send that to me, and it does look like there's somebody walking behind the perp on the porch. Andrew, I agree with you on that. Oh, I love that. That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. All right, people. You love humidity. I love it here because it's not sticky, hot humidity. There's a lot of moisture in the air. Like my hands don't crack, the things that used to happen to me when I lived in Arizona. All right, people, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to go talk to my wife, Relatable Reese. If you've never gone over there and hit subscribe, please do so. At Relatable Reese. She's funny as hell. Everybody thanks me afterwards. Now, do me a favor and make sure you see Johnny Scoville tomorrow. He's going to be going live, and he wants to thank you for his 500,000th comment. I find that really amazing to me. 500,000, man. All right, people, between now and the next time I see you, say a prayer for this family. Thank you particularly tonight to Gary Mackey. You're keeping free speech alive, Gary. I really, really appreciate you. And to all of the people that hit the like button and hit subscribe and the bell for notification, you're the reason I do this every day. That, and there's nothing I love more than seeing my face on TV. I'm sorry. Just sounded mean, didn't it? So I will see you on the next one, people. Please say a prayer for this family. They need it. And pray that Nanos really is out. Looks like he is. I'm Tommy. We'll see you on the next one. God bless.